Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of The Brett Allen Show. Thanks for watching and listening and being a part of the conversation. Today, we are chatting Prey with actor Dane DiLiegro, who actually plays, no pun intended, the Predator in this upcoming, I shouldn't say upcoming, it's been out now for a little bit here on Hulu. Thank you for your time. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I have to be honest with you. I've been watching a lot of the interviews that you've been doing, and I find what you do, extremely fascinating because you play a lot of these types of characters, these action heavy, physical heavy type roles that require a lot of work. And I think what I find so fascinating is it's like not you're acting, but you're also doing much more than what some actors might be doing. I mean, this is a very physical film, I think, for everybody, but for you particularly, wearing these costumes for 16 and 17 hours a day has to be physically daunting. And I just watched one where you were talking about this device that you bought for your neck that you were using to sort of help strengthen it. Let's talk about this. But first of all, congratulations on all of the success of this film. I have to say, and I think a lot of people would agree, this is probably one of the best in the franchise. So all the success is well deserved.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's been crazy how well this movie's been doing, and essentially what it's done in terms of reception. It's really been exciting to see this, this movie transpire through the masses. It's a movie that's not just for sci-fi and horror fans. It's also a fun adventure story. There just happens to be a predator in it. So,
yeah. Well, let's talk about this because I mean, there have been lots of different stories, lots of different universes with this character, but I find this one to be different and very unique. Although there is a predator in it, it is a fun action and fun adventure story, but also it has a little bit of a twist to it as well. And it's just been so well received. I think, a lot of critics and just people in general have commented on the fact that this is next to maybe like Shane Black's version. This is one of the best films in the series. It's so good. How did it come about for you? And what sort of interested you and attracted you to the project?
Yeah, I mean, Alec Gillis, who essentially built the suit, reached out to me directly and had me come in for a design pitch for a project they're working on in Canada, and I didn't know what it was. So I went in, and there's the Predator suit from the last movie sitting out on the table. And I'm like, oh man, this is Predator. This is pretty cool. So let's see what happens here. So I put the suit on, and Dan came in, and our director of photography, Jeff Cutter, came in, and Marta Ewing, our producer, came in and watched me essentially move how I thought that this predator would move. And it turned out that, I was one of the only guys capable of portraying this character in the way they wanted to. So worked out for me. I'm not complaining. But yeah, it was a really crazy journey through that whole process of developing this character.
Yeah, and the cast as well, surrounding cast is just fantastic. Amber Midthunder, her mother, Angelique, I actually have worked with her several times before when Amber was much younger, and now to see Amber just blossom into this phenomenal actor, and just it's just a great film. Now, interestingly enough, as I said in the beginning, this is a very physical and daunting role to play. You said something just now about being able to move and to be able to embody this character, because although you're in the suit, so to speak, you've created this human type character that is what it is, as we know, as the Predator. How do you even begin to create something like this? Like, have you seen the other films and you're kind of like creating your own version, or did you just go into this completely with an open slate, clean slate, so to speak, and go, how am I going to create, such an iconic type character? Because the suit is obviously different from other films. I mean, it's all really well. I feel like I keep saying that a lot, but it's true. I mean, I've seen this like 4 or 5 times. It's just very obsessive to watch
Hmm.
it.
Hmm. No, when I initially started talking with Dan about what he wanted, there were a set of parameters that were kind of laid, a set of boundaries, and in the sense that he really wanted his own version of the Predator. And whereas maybe you see in some of the other films, it's kind of, like a replication of what Kevin Peter Hall did when the first and second Predator movies. And Dan kind of wanted to get away from that. So he set, he gave me a couple keywords to look into and the way he thought this character would move. And, with that information. And then for me, the thing that helps the most is I need to see what the design is of this character. So our Predator has a huge giant hunching back, so that kind of helps me um, tell the story that he's a beast, he's an animal. And once I see the design and I can base things off of what our director wants, it kind of helps me construct how this character will move in order to tell his story.
Yeah, it's interesting. The thing that I like about this one in particular, is it although it is a monster and a beast, it's not so alien focused, of if that makes any sense, but more
Mm-hmm.
like it's something that you would a creature that you might find out in the
Mm-hmm.
woods, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I think about this film is so appealing. Not that the other ones are bad, but I think that's why fans are so drawn into this. You know what I mean? Because it is a little bit more realistic, in the sense of like, although it is, you know, sci-fi and action, it's a good story too. And you sort of humanize this character a little bit, which is not something we've seen in previous versions. You know what I mean?
Yep, yep, absolutely. It's just I appreciate Dan kind of handing me the keys to the castle for this character and granting me the creative ceiling that he did in terms of doing, how I want, how I feel this character should move, and kind of giving me that freedom to be able to put what I want into this character.
Yes. So was this filmed pre, post, mid pandemic? How was this done? Because I know for some projects it's kind of been a hybrid. And I'm very curious because I remember when conversations started happening about a new prey, a new predator was coming out, people became very interested quite quickly. And it took a little bit of time to get things moving. And then, now here we are.
Yeah, I would say this was mid slash post pandemic. I mean, COVID was very real when we were on set. We had all the protocols and everything, but yeah, it was. I mean, this started January of 2021 is when was when they reached out to me about this, and yeah, we shot this in Calgary. Right now, this time last year, we were up in outside of Calgary shooting this film, and it was 96% shot on location. So we only had a
Wow.
handful of days in a soundstage. The rest were shot in the middle of the woods in Alberta, and it was very real. It was very hot. We got all the weather there. We got all the temperature, and that added to the realism of this film. It showed. It really did show.
Yes. Now, I think another part of this would be, what type of physical training do you do to create a character like this, or just any of the creatures that you played? Because they're all very physically demanding, especially when you're putting on pounds and pounds of suits, makeup, sometimes animatronics. I mean, it's not like, playing Mickey Mouse at Disneyland. There's a lot going
Right.
on there.
Yeah, no, I had to lose 25 pounds for this role to
Wow.
make him more lean and dynamic. But I trained for 2 months parkour training leading up to this role. I also trained martial arts. So we did a bit of Kali, we did a bit of sword handling, bow staff. I did some jujitsu leading up to this. But no, it was a very physically demanding role, and I would do a lot of functional strength and conditioning leading into this, but I also had to, like I said, lose weight. So I had to stay strong, but I also had to be skinny enough to fit in this costume and make him look convincing, essentially. So
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Well, another question here, as we're wrapping. Again, you've been a part of a lot of great projects, obviously, including Prey. What interested you in becoming an actor or a storyteller? Where did that journey begin for you?
I've always enjoyed being on camera. For me, obviously, basketball, playing professional basketball plays a factor into this. But for a while, I actually wanted to be a culinary travel TV show host, unscripted travel
Love it.
TV.
That's great.
And then, this acting thing, I kind of got scouted to do it. So it came about in a sense that, oh, interesting. Someone said, you'd be good at that. So I looked into it and I actually booked a role on a Netflix show called Sweet Home 2 weeks after deciding looking into acting. So I was pretty fortunate with that. And then I said, oh, this is great. I love doing this. So I just pursued it more. I settled down in Los Angeles permanently. And, that's kind of it. That's the rest of the story. So got, miracles and opportunity with this Predator role. And who knows what's next.
Yeah, I would be great to see this continue on. Again, all the success is well deserved. Dane, this is a great show, and I think a great telling of this character and really the world that you all have created. Again, everybody, it's available to watch and stream now on Hulu. If you have not seen this yet, I highly recommend it. Plus all the other great work Dane has done. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. And thanks to Disney and everybody, all the hoops for making this conversation happen. I appreciate your time.
Of course. Thanks for having me.